Welcome to r/RedditRevenge. This is a story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. Condo residents' parking dilemma leads to a feud with the condo board president, resulting in a boot and tow operation for unauthorized parkers. The second story. Kind-hearted driver falls victim to a stranded driver scam at a gas station. He gives Easy Pass to the scammer and reports the theft. The third story. Despite working hard for over a year and becoming the go-to person for fixing machines, a machine operator is denied a promotion to mechanic and raise. They stop going above and beyond. Today's first story is Boot, Tag, and Tow. My elderly mother, who's never held a driver's license or owned a car, moved to a condo where most unit owners had indoor garages under their units, except my mom's, who had 2 outdoor stalls. They had a condo board, and the president of the board was a serious D-bag. Knowing my mom didn't have any cars, he always parked there and used the other stall as his personal visitor parking. It was convenient for him as the stalls were close to a side door that was close to his corner unit. I come from a very large family of 9, and myself or one of my brothers or sisters visited every day, and we often had nowhere to park. She had 12 siblings and they all visited frequently too, and both stalls were always occupied with his cars. Eventually, we approached the DB and asked him to stop parking there as we need both stalls. He told us we should use visitor parking, so he wasn't inconvenienced. First, we put up a no parking sign. I bought it online from a sign printing company, so it looked just like a city sign. It wasn't hand printed on cardboard. Then we sent him a registered letter telling him we would boot and tow any vehicle we found in our stall. I set up a motion-activated webcam pointed at the stalls. It was a little too far away, so I got a lot of false positives, but it would alert my phone if someone parked there. I knew the DB drove a Cavalier, and his visitors drive either a white car, a red pickup, or a silver sedan. In my city, you can't tow anyone until the police have ticketed it. Tow companies won't even hook up unless it's tagged. So I would get alerts from my webcam, phone my mom to confirm she didn't have company, then phone the cops to get them tagged. They would often take 3 or more hours, but I would get another alert when they were there. When I got the second alert and saw the cop car sitting there, I immediately called my buddy's tow company and drove to my mom's. When I got there, 20 minutes later, a tow truck had already picked the truck up and was leaving. He said the second tow truck was 15 minutes away, so I went through with my boot plans. I had a long length of very heavy chain, probably 30 feet, that I used to lock up my motorcycle with when I lived in a shady part of town. That and a big fat padlock with a registered keyway. I chained the car through the back tire rim to a nearby light pole, then went and sat in my truck. The second tow truck and visitor looking for his red truck arrived at the same time. The visitor ran back to get the DB and the tow truck hooked up. DB came back and demanded the tow operator drop his car. No problem, $125 please? DB throws a wobbler, screaming at me that he's going to sue me, evict my mom, etc. He finally paid the tow op and his car was released, but I refused to unchain his car. He threatened to call the cops. I admittedly was probably in the wrong, but I called his bluff and said go ahead. He screamed and yelled and threatened me for a good 15 minutes, until he was finally all ranted out. After that, we had a calm conversation about all the visitors my mother had, the majority of them also elderly, and that the stalls belonged to us. He eventually agreed to stop parking there, and to his credit kept his word. His visitors were slower to come into compliance, and had to be towed once each, including a second time for red pickup, but they got the message. After they stopped parking there, I kinda missed all the confrontations. Also, my buddy was giving me a bottle of whiskey for every tow job I sent to him. The next story is Exploit My Generosity? Hopefully you don't like driving. One night I was on my way home from work and needed to stop at a gas station. This gas station was right off a very busy, tolled interstate highway and had an attached convenience store, as most do. It was dark out when I pulled up. I started pumping my gas and was headed to the store when another customer stopped me. His truck was at the pump across from me. He went on a sob story about how he just got a ticket for not having money to pay the tolls, being completely out of gas and needing to get home, since he actually took all his infant son's formula with him when he left. There was a woman with him, looking through a diaper bag while he related his tale of woe, and right when he mentions the formula, she yells, "Yeah, all the formula's in here. What were we thinking? We really need to get back." She said her wallet should be in the bag somewhere. But after dumping the contents inside the truck cabin, she lamented that it wasn't there. So yeah, obviously they were looking for me to give them money. For some stupid reason, I decided to give them the benefit of the doubt. I go into the store, take out $20 from the ATM and give it to them. In retrospect, this was such a textbook example of the stranded driver scam, but I guess I really was naive. But then instead of just thanking me for the money, this brazen son of a bee responds, "Thanks, but we really need another $20 to make it home. Any way you could get more?" He also promised he'd mail the money back to me if I gave him my name, address, and phone number. At that point, I begin to regret giving him anything, as all the red flags are registering in my mind at once. Both of these people were very unhygienic. Greasy hair, very poor teeth, consistent with prohibited substances use, dirty clothes. The man's pupils were dilated a lot more than would be expected under the bright lights of the gas station, and he was especially twitchy. Likewise, the woman was pacing around, muttering to herself in feigned concern. So yeah, they were both probably high. Also, looking at the contents of the diaper bag sprawled across their truck's interior, there was plenty of trash but no baby formula. I thought to myself, if I'm gonna ruin these people's night, I needed to be sure, so I agreed to get more money, but first ask him, "Can I see the citation you got? My cousin is a state trooper and would probably take care of it for you. I just need some of the information on it." As I jot down his license plate number on my phone, he checks his pockets before saying, I have no idea what I did with it. It's okay, I'll just pay it. No big deal. So you don't have money for gas, but paying more than $100 on a traffic ticket is no big deal. Bull SH. I now also noticed the state of his license plate didn't match up with his story. Peeved at myself, I'm making my way back into the store, and the wheels in my head are spinning. How can I get back at this a-hole? Have them kicked out? Nah, then they'll just go to another gas station and victimize someone else. Call the police? They might not get here in time. I'm a few feet from the door when genius strikes. I turn and call over to him. "If you want, you can take my Easy Pass for the tolls. I don't really need it anymore. It's right on the dashboard. The door should be unlocked." "Oh, that'd be great, thanks." I go into the store and pretend to use the ATM while I'm actually using an app on my phone to cancel my Easy Pass. I report their fraudulent activity to the attendant and hurry back outside. I told the man I couldn't take any more money out of my account, sorry. He's disappointed but didn't press me. I'm grinning like a smug idiot on the inside. Get into my car, notice the transponder is gone, and drive off. I pull over a few minutes down the road and call the Easy Pass office. By some stroke of luck, they're open late that day, and I'm able to speak with an actual person. I explained to her that when I got into my car just now, I noticed the transponder was gone. I already canceled it, but I wanted to make sure it was all set. She confirms that it's deactivated, and I can come pick up a replacement for a small fee. Not today. She asks and I tell her where and by whom I suspect the transponder was taken, giving her their license plate number and address of the gas station. She promises to pass the information along to the state police. Perfect. A day or so later, the state police call me to say they've recovered my transponder and needed me to come in to give a statement. Of course, I obliged. While there, I tried to pry more information on the fate of the con artists, but they weren't very forthcoming at all. Luckily, I told my cousin the story, and she said she'd look into the case for me. According to the report, they got CCTV footage from the gas station showing me giving the man money, and then him taking my transponder when I went back into the store. Afterwards, the a-hole got back onto the interstate and stopped at the nearest rest stop, where they presumably tried their scheme again, before moving on to the next one to repeat the process. Eventually, they got off the toll road and onto a different highway. When they drove through the Easy Pass toll lane, they got flagged for not paying, and were pulled over a few miles away. At this point, I was satisfied having caused them to get a $100 citation, but that wasn't the end of it. The cop notices something's up with the driver and calls for backup. When they arrived, the police officer gave the guy a field sobriety test, which he failed and was arrested. While this is going on, the woman flipped out and started running. She doesn't make it far before they catch up to her, whereupon she resists arrest. All in all, the guy was charged with DUI. Not his first time either. Possession, they had some prohibited substances in the truck. Theft by deception, for the $20 I gave them, and theft for the transponder. The truck was impounded and the guy got a large fine for operating without insurance, along with the $100 fine for not paying the toll. The woman was charged with possession and resisting arrest. She also had a record. All in all, pretty sweet revenge. They ended up only being tried for the prohibited substances related charges, but I'm still very satisfied with that along with the fines. It gave my cousin the cop a good laugh too. The last story is, hard work doesn't pay off and laziness is tolerated? Okay, fine. A little background. I work as a machine operator. I was training for over a year to be a mechanic. The mechanics on first shift are much better than the ones on second shift. Also, the ones on second shift only speak English as a second language, so it's harder to convey information. That's why I did swing shift, to learn from first shift. The mechanics are the ones responsible for troubleshooting, fixing, and changing over the machines. There were also a couple machine operators that started the exact same day as me. One of them was so bad that they had to move him out of the building. The other still can't do basic maintenance, and he sure as SH can't do a changeover. For months I'd been told we need you to learn this so we can make you a mechanic and put you in charge of the building. I did swing shifts, split shifts, and overtime to learn all that I could. The mechanics didn't have anything left to teach me. I can fix anything and everything. I can do changeovers faster and more reliably than 3/4 of mechanics. I learned enough that a couple of the maintenance guys were even trying to get me in their department when they had an opening, but my supervisor shot that down because I'm too vital where I'm at. Bragging time. There's one machine. I'm usually the only person who ever runs it. It's the only machine in the building that can run all day every day with no real problems. It wasn't like that when I started 2 years ago. I modified parts, adjusted sequence timing, and computer settings to turn it into the most reliable machine in the building. I'm very proud of this machine, so we'll call it my machine. It got to a point where I was the go-to guy to fix the other machine operators' issues. My supervisor would say things like, "I need you to change this machine to this and get that out. Truck leaves tomorrow." I don't trust these other guys with it. Sometimes the second shift mechanics would ask me to help them with their problems if they couldn't figure it out, even though they've got 40 years combined experience. They should have no problem with this stuff. I was barely running a machine anymore. I spent most of my time helping other people or doing changeovers, so first shift could come in and run. So after months of talk, I asked them to deliver on it, make me mechanic on my shift, and give me a raise. Sorry, we don't think you're quite there yet. Cue the petty revenge. I called off for a few days to use up my PTO in case they decided to fire me for what I was about to do. When I came back, I stopped clocking in early to touch base with first shift about what to expect. I stopped helping people. I stopped fixing machines and doing changeovers. I stopped keeping a detailed downtime log. I quit doing general upkeep on the machines. I started taking my time with everything I do. I started taking 45-minute lunch breaks. I have a good work ethic, so when I first enacted my revenge, it took considerable effort to keep myself from doing the things that are above my pay grade but within my skill set. It took the plant manager a week to call me into his office for a meeting. In that meeting, I told him promises of better things to come wasn't enough for me, and that I didn't want to be a mechanic. He tried to offer me more money, but I reminded him that as of the week prior, I wasn't ready to be a mechanic per my supervisor, so I just want machine operator responsibilities and money. Cue their petty revenge attempt. For a couple months, they were putting me on troubled machines and testing the waters by asking me to do changeovers. I refused the changeovers on the spot, and if a machine wouldn't run reliably with minor adjustments, I'd text my boss and let him know it requires a mechanic's attention and ask which machine to run next. I always get a good feeling from that text, because I could fix it if I wanted to. Sometimes I even do it if it'll make my day easier overall. They haven't called me out for it either, even though they also know I can fix it. This brings us to today. We've reached an unspoken equilibrium, it seems. They've been keeping my machine scheduled, so I've been running it for a couple weeks now. I say unspoken because I come in, start my machine, find something to watch on my iPad, and don't talk to anybody all day. That's why I'm here. It's been 3 months and I'm running out of things to watch. Help! Subscribe, hit the like button, and have a nice day.